Hey, how's it going? This is Mr. Hernandez, and I'm going to be going over these trigonometric ratios for the pixel art, the Among Us one. I'm going to be looking at two of them. For the first example, I'm going to be doing a trig ratio with the fraction, and the next one I'm going to do a trig ratio with a decimal. so I'm going to do number 9 here first. So the first thing you want to do is just copy all of this down on a piece of paper, and then you could pause this video whenever you need. And so I'm going to just break it down by steps. So step 1 is to label the sides, because you have your hypotenuse, opposite side, and adjacent. So the hypotenuse is always going to be the same across from the 90, the longest side, and the diagonal, the side that's diagonal slanted. So I'm going to label that as H. The next one is this Z. I'm going to put parentheses around it just to show how important it is to focus in on what Z is, and that is Z. I'm going to actually circle this here. So the question is, this is our reference angle. Which side is across from the reference angle? So if I draw an arrow across from it, that's going to be this side that's 18. So that's going to be O. So O is always across from the reference angle. And then by the process of elimination, our third side over here is our A, which is adjacent. Okay, so that's step 1. That's done. Okay, step 2 is to write Sohcahtoa. So let's see. You got to spell that correctly. So this is Sohcahtoa. Now, because we're dealing with cosine, you have to ask yourself which one of these are we going to use. So because cosine is a C, we're going to use this one here, the Ka. And each one of these has a equation that's associated with it. So the equation for this one is cosine of theta, any angle is called theta, is equal to, and because the A is first and the H is second, the A is going to be your numerator and the H is going to be the denominator. So that's what your your fraction would look like. So I'm going to basically just put this equation over here. So cosine of Z now is equal to A over H. Well, A is 24 and H is 30. So because A is your numerator, 24 is going to be your numerator. And because H is your denominator, 30 is going to be our denominator. Now, 24 over 30 is the correct answer, but you want to reduce it. For this pixel art activity, you're going to have to reduce this fraction. So if you divide it by, let's say, 6, I believe that's going to get us the lowest value. So 24 divided by 6 is 4, and then 30 divided by 6 is 5. So technically, this is the ratio that you would put into here. Now, this will work next school year. I'm going to actually edit the answer key for this, but I did realize that this answer won't work here if you put 4 over 5. And the reason why is because they basically switched it to be, I'm going to do this one more time. So they switched it, and instead of the cosine of Z, what the answer represents for this particular one is not the cosine of Z. It was actually the tangent of X. So that's technically how you would do this problem if the answer key was correct. But this is the way that the answer key is set up. So I'm going to do this real quick. I'm going to do the same exact steps. The first step is labeling. So, okay, because we're dealing with this reference angle x, this is going to be what we're going to look at for the opposite. So remember last time the opposite was down here because z was the reference angle. It was down here. This was our O. But because we're switching the reference angle, this is the way the answer is in the current pixel art activity. X would be the reference angle, and so the opposite of that is 24, and then this would be A. So that's step 1, and then step 2 is Sohcahtoa. And then because we're dealing with tangent, this is the one that we're going to be focusing on. So this would be tangent of theta equals O over A, which is equal to O is 24 and A is 18. And so if you reduce that, that's going to be, let's say, divided by 6, I believe. Yeah. So 24 divided by 6 is 4, and 18 divided by 6 is 3. So this is actually the one that's going to give us our actual picture. What was it, 4 over 3? And yeah, that's why 4 over 3 works for this for number 9. Otherwise, if it was the correct answer, it would have been what we said before, right? We said it was 4 over 5. That should be the answer to what the current question's asking here, cosine of z. But again, that won't work. You're going to have to use tangent of x, which is going to give you 4 over 3. So yeah, number 9 is written incorrectly for this one. Okay, so the last one I want to go over is number 17. Now this one has to be to the nearest 10,000ths. The directions are to round it, which is 4 decimal places. Okay, so 4 numbers after the decimal. That's the key for this one. For 10, I believe it's 11 through 22. You're going to have to do the same thing here. So step 1, label. Again, you want to copy all this down. Copy the shape, copy the everything here. So Z is our reference angle. So H is the easiest to do. That's across from the 90. It's the largest side. The next one is going to be your O. And again, you want to look at the reference angle, circle that. Whatever's across from that reference angle is your opposite. And then the third side is your adjacent. And then again, Sohcahtoa. You don't have to write Sohcahtoa each time. I'm just writing it just because you can't see what I wrote from it before. You can just reference this every single time. But in this case, let's see. We're dealing with sine, so that's going to be this one here. And so the equation that's going to come from this is sine of any angle theta. In this case, we're using z, right? So sine of z equals, and then it's O and then h. So O over h, which is equal to O is 12, h is 37. And I believe that's not going to reduce. Again, we got to have 4 decimal places. So what's 12 over 37? Let's see. Again, you're going to need decimals for number 11 through 22. So what was that number again? 12 over 27. And that's 0.444 repeating. So I'm going to say this is approximately 0.4444 because you need 4 decimal places. And each of these is 4. So that's going to be the number that works. So let's just check that. So this was number 17. So this is 0.4444, and that should get us some of this picture here. Okay. Did I enter this correctly? 12 over... Oh, it was 12 over 37. Uh-oh. I put 27. Okay. 0.3243. 0.3243. Okay, so that should actually be the answer. Wow. Well, I'm not going to make another video. This is just going to be a reminder that mistakes can happen. Let's see. 0.3243. And I'm using these squiggly lines because it's an approximation since I'm rounding. If this next number after the 3 was like, if it was 0.3243 and then the number after that 3 was like, imagine if this number here after the 4th decimal place, if this number here next to it was 5 or more, like if this 2 was a 5, this 3 would round up to a 4. Okay, so just, you got to remember about rounding. But because this number here, this 2 is 4 or less, we're just going to ignore that. And that's why we just stop writing at the 4th decimal place. And then the other thing to think about is if you had if you had like 20 over 40 or something, that's 0.5. Because this pixel art activity asks for 4 decimal places, we're going to just fill those in with zeros. So you should have, so basically you always want 4 decimal places no matter what. And that's kind of the way that this pixel activity works. So let me put in the right answer this time. Okay, so that should be, I keep forgetting, 3243. Okay, let's see, that's it. Yep, so that's the correct answer. So yeah, just be very careful with those decimals. Make sure there's four of them, even if you have to put zeros. And yeah, show your work. All right, have a great one.